back at the World Cup final. We've doubled up Julien Laurens and Andy Zaltzman in the house, everybody.
Woo! Yeah!
Of course we have. Fellas, was it a vintage World Cup final for you, Andy?
Relative to the standards of recent World Cup finals, yes, which have mostly been amongst the most awful sporting occasions you could possibly imagine. So it was good. It was a good game, great goal to finish it with, and compared with the last Germany Argentina final, which I think was probably the single worst thing in the history of human activity,
right,
in terms of any type of performance. The worst thing ever.
Wow.
In 1990, it couldn't have got worse. Sport and life could not get any worse in that game. So this was much better than that. Yeah.
Did the right team win, Julien?
Yeah, I think so. The game was played with no surprise, really. We expected Argentina to play really deep and defend a lot, and Germany to have the possession of the ball, which they did. But Argentina had the best chances, though, which is really weird, apart from Hoede's header just before halftime on the post. Apart from that, Messi, Higuain especially, and even Palacio had the best chances. But I think overall the best team of the tournament won, Germany, from start to finish. And in that sense, it's well deserved.
Explain to me how Schweinsteiger wasn't named man of the match, because to me he was by far the best player on the field.
Yeah, well, that's incredible. And explain to me how he didn't start the World Cup as a starter. He was on the bench for the first game. Lam was playing in the position then Schweinsteiger played towards all the knockout stages. And I think Jogi Löw is a great manager, and he won the World Cup, obviously. But I don't know how, in his mind, he could have thought, well, I'm not going to start Schweinsteiger because he's not good enough for that team, clearly. And I'm glad that he changed his mind and rebalanced the team when Lam went out right back and Schweinsteiger finally started in midfield, because he's an incredible player.
You enjoyed it, Andy. Do you have a favourite moment of the World Cup final?
Well, I mean, obviously the goal was great, and I think what you just don't want a World Cup final to be decided on penalties. And it did look like it was heading that way. And also that could have enabled Argentina to win the World Cup without having scored in over 320 minutes of football, which would have, I think, been really bad for football. I mean, they played a decent game last night within their very kind of limited game plan. But yeah, it was a beautiful goal, and I think it saved football from a disappointing end.
It was very odd that Sabella took Lavezzi off at half-time, wasn't it? Because he seemed to be one of the standout players for Argentina.
Well, it did look for a large part of the game that he was playing for penalties, and Lavezzi had looked dangerously like he might create a goal for Argentina.
Right,
that obviously would have blown that plan out of the water. So, it made, other than that, it made no strategic sense whatsoever.
I mean, is that really where Argentina, to some degree, came unstuck? That Sabella's been under criticism for a lot of the tournament, and he stood up to that criticism pretty well by getting his team to the final. But when it mattered most, he made some quite odd decisions.
He did. He had a very interesting tournament. He made some good ones. We talked about Biglia when we were preparing for the show, who had a very good final. And again, like Schweinsteiger didn't start the tournament, Gago started in his position. I think the absence of Di Maria was a massive blow for them and for Sabella, who relies a lot on him. And overall, his choices during that final were poor. Palacios were poor. Taking Lavezzi off so early was poor. He could have kept Lavezzi on and put Aguero instead of Palacios later on, and Aguero would have probably scored the chance that Palacio missed. So, yeah, overall, I think it was a very disappointing end for Sabella. However, he still got them to the World Cup final.
Now, Messi winning the Golden Ball, the Adidas Golden Ball, raised a few eyebrows.
Yeah, I think it's entirely justified. He scored, 300 goals in 300 games for Barcelona. His performance in the 2009 Clásico in the 6-2 win was absolutely spectacular.
Right.
Great performances in the Champions League wins over Man United. So I don't see how you can say he didn't deserve the Golden Ball for this tournament.
It's a fair argument. When did you sign that Adidas deal? Julien, who should have won the Golden Ball if you don't think Messi was the rightful winner of that?
Schweinsteiger. Every day. Any day, every day.
Interesting.
Not just for the final, for the whole... We were saying with Fish before the show.
Just to clarify, Fish is one, because it could just be a fish hanging around the studio. One of our producers' fish.
Used to be in Marillion, of course. And
it was also coincidentally here.
Making football videos.
Exactly, yeah. All the big players who were really good in the group stages, and many of them were, then were more disappointing in the knockout stages. And Schweinsteiger was the other way around, and I think for that he would have deserved to be player of the tournament.
Goal of the tournament? A lot of people seem to like James Rodriguez's. Do you think was there any other serious contenders there?
No. Daniel Sturridge.
Yes.
I mean, clearly not, but it was a really nice goal. I mean, that was a great. There's not been many great moments watching England in World Cups recently, but that was a really nice goal.
You love that goal.
I love that goal.
Got you
And
going.
it was for the first time. I thought, oh, we're not going to be awful forever. I mean, that didn't last very long. That thought, but yeah, clearly Rodriguez's goal was magic.
Van Persie. Some people suggested that he was unlucky.
Nah. James. He has a look first before the ball arrives on him. So imagine, you can try to do it, or everybody.
We've got a ball. Let's
he has a look when the ball is in the air, chested it, but not chested it.
It's kind of
towards the bottom, chested it in the air because he knows he's going to volley it.
Yeah.
So there's like 3 pieces of incredible skills in that. Cahill is a great goal, but he's so lucky. He can try again 1,000 times, he will never score.
See, when I chest the ball,
never in 1,000.
When I chest the ball, it happens too, but it can be unintentionally, just bounces off like a trampoline.
Yeah, Rodriguez's goal.
So controlled.
Yeah, for me it was, I guess, reminiscent of Paul Baker at Gillingham in the early 90s.
Can't recall that one. I'm sure many of our viewers will remember it fondly, though. Alrighty then, winners and losers of the World Cup. Andy, who do you think has come out of this shining and whose reputation lies in tatters now?
Germany clearly have got a sort of a blueprint right down to last season enabling Bayern Munich to win the league with about 8 months to spare. All their players, the massive Bayern Munich contingent all looked fresh, and you compare that with the Spanish players who've been slugging it out in the league and the Champions League right to the back end of May, who looked like they had absolutely nothing left, and Messi as well. So clearly, what they had a very competitive league, and thought, we're not going to win a World Cup like that. We need to make this tediously one-sided. So they've done that. And
smart play.
And it's one of the
what about a loser? Who's come out of this World Cup?
I think there's been quite a lot of losers. I think there was only one really good team in the World Cup, which was Germany. Colombia might have been that, but I guess we didn't quite see quite enough of them. So England, obviously, massive losers, particularly because the way they went out has ended up with people saying it was worse than 4 years ago. They played about 10 times better than England did 4 years ago. But the fact that they went out in the first round, I think people have forgotten that a little bit.
Numbers don't lie, stats don't lie.
Stats do lie almost all the time in football, because almost all football stats are made up, basically. They might be, they're facts, but they're false facts.
What about you? What about you, Julien? Winners and losers?
No, I like Germany, of course. And if you think that they won the Under-21 European Championship in 2009 against England in the final.
Yeah, we were robbed. We're absolutely robbed.
4-0. It was a 4-0 robbery. with Khedira, with Ozil, with Neuer, with Boateng, Hoedes and Hummels. They just had a plan. They had a 10-year plan, and they ended up winning the World Cup. So just for that, and for the football overall with their league, and the way they bring fans to the stadium, the cheap football, all of that, I think is just great for them, and they're definitely the big winners there. The losers have to be Spain. For such a disappointing, not just the fact that anyone can lose, obviously, but the way they lost, the poor level they were at is just incredible.
So did the right team win in the end, fellas?
Unquestionably, but on the Spain thing, it would have been very interesting to see how their tournament would have gone had Silva scored that chance at 1-0 up against Holland, clean through, beautiful pass by Iniesta, and he, for some reason, thinks, I'm going to try a stupid dink instead of just whacking it in the goal. And if they'd been 2-0 up then, they would have probably won that game, probably been very confident that fatigue might have melted away. Casillas might not have had whatever mental episode he had that led to him goalkeeping like an escaped lemur from a zoo. So who knows?
That's the great thing about it, though, isn't it? So many of the teams. I mean, if Higuain had put that chance in early doors, we could be talking about.
Yeah, that is a big if from the way he finished it. He clearly saw that ball coming down and thought, right, this is my big moment. This is the moment that's going to define me for my life. Oh, hang on, that goalkeeper's very big, isn't he? I'm just going to stick this 5 yards.
He nailed the offside one, didn't he? Afraid that's all we have time for, fellas. Give it up for Andy and Julien, everybody. Now, before we go, let's take one last look at the predictions table. And I am, quite frankly, stunned to announce that the winner of the 2014 World Cup Predictions League is... It's not Mary, sadly. It's Raf Honigstein, everybody, from The Guardian. And now this is astonishing because Raf was bottom of the table for the majority of the tournament. And then, like a phoenix from the flames, just flew from the quarterfinals onwards, really. Seemed to get every single result bang on and has walked away with the title. At least I ended up with mid-table obscurity. Julien, in the relegation zone, my friend. There you go then, all done and dusted. But relax, people, we are most certainly not. Keep your eyes peeled this week for all our World Cup roundups from me and the gang, and the Guardian Football YouTube channel will be rolling throughout next season with lots of original video content covering the Premier League, Champions League, all the major European leagues, MLS too, and much, much more besides. So we'll see you very soon.